Now let's understand what is cross-border e-commerce. In 2016, this year, cross-border e-commerce sales of India has reached $500 billion, while global online trade is expected to reach almost $2 trillion by end of 2017, where multiple retailers and business opportunities of international expansions are there. United States and China itself are doing billions of dollars of business every single day. Global business in this way helps companies to grow in B2B segment, and diverse audiences they get, different expectations of different consumers, different languages, and truly it's profitable. So international e-commerce is called cross-border e-commerce, when consumers buy online from merchants located in other countries and jurisdictions. Online trade between consumers and merchants which share one common language and border, or which makes use of the same currency, are not always perceived as cross-border by consumers. The internet enables consumers to shop globally by purchasing products and services across the border, driven by a common language, a common border, special offers, or simply because the product or service are not available in the consumer's own region. The increasing popularity of tablets and smartphones allows consumers worldwide to compare prices, connect with other consumers via social media, to discuss about the products and services, to select a web shop independent of its location, and to transfer payments via their PCs, laptops, mobile phones, or tablets at any place, anytime, anywhere. Not only consumers, merchants and payment service providers profit the opportunities presented by global e-commerce. Banks have come to realize that offering acquiring services to successful stakeholders engaged in the online trade can be more profitable than selling banking products. Online retailers, card processors, and payment service providers have hardly been affected by the economic crisis. On the contrary, these stakeholders have risen their phoenix from actually nothing, and in the age where international expansion through global online trade has become a huge business, a big business, this is an important thing to do: go global and go cross-border. Understanding the challenges in cross-border e-commerce is also an important point. The domestic companies quite differently from those incorporated abroad. So if you are serious about selling to customers in a specific country, you might find it to your advantage to incorporate locally. Then legal limitations are also there to sell. Every country has its unique set of do's and don'ts about what can be sold to whom. Most countries consider transactions entered into the minors as enforceable, but the exact age of legal adulthood varies country to country. Likewise, several categories of products like food, alcohol, weapons, and antiques, among others, have specific requirements. Even as an e-commerce business, you can be held liable for the non-meeting those requirements. For instance, a consumer's country might mandate that all packaged food must have the ingredients, nutritional value, manufacturing date, and expiry date available on a printed label. If you are shipping goods from one country that does not meet these regulations, you could be in violation of local laws in the customer's country, and in exchange your license can be cancelled to export there. So clarity and strength of legal framework. It's not just about meeting local laws, it's about having resources to courts and competent authorities when the need arises. Several countries around the world have a rather weak legal framework. Even where a framework is sound, that is often a huge issue with delay in the jurisdiction process, and the economic players selling to another countries will be bound to live up to the regulations to that country. For all practical purposes, it may not be able to defend its legal rights there. Payment methods and processing. A robust payment processing system is absolutely necessary for commerce. Preferred payment mechanism vary across the world, so research your potential market before you make assumptions about your payment system. In Japan, Konbini, it's a local payment method, accounts for the 1/6 of the e-commerce payments. While close to 100% of e-commerce payments in Spain are by Visa, MasterCard and American Express. In France it is close to 60%, in Germany it's almost 30%. Germany has a well-developed e-commerce ecosystem without a high degree of credit card penetration. Still it's big. India and other countries have shown a strong preference for cash on delivery due to the mistrust in the initial stage of consumers as well as for the sellers. You will need to accept payments in the method that the consumers prefer. Other than credit cards, there is no other truly global payment methods. Then comes the logistics and reverse logistic. Unless you are exclusively selling digital downloads, you will have to develop a strong logistic process. Effective logistics has repeatedly proven to be a strong competitive advantage for online as well as offline retailers. Okay, so the cost associated with cross-border logistics can be the tipping point for your e-commerce business. But it is not just about the cost, it is about reliability and predictability. I have come across several small e-commerce businesses that work on the premises that their role ends once they can prove that they handle over the goods of the logistic provider. But that is not how the customers think. Customers believe that you are responsible for ensuring that the product reaches them, isn't it? And if your delivery logistics are complex, imagine the complexity of reverse logistics. Given the cost, customs duties and documentation, many e-commerce players may not be able to provide reverse logistics in cross-border situation. So the product goes to another country, the product has to be sourced again and then given to the consumer. That's like the organization's readiness is important in this. So if you do not focus on the business's own readiness for selling abroad, right from the appreciation of local taste to sensitivity for cultural factors, you must develop a deep understanding of every market you intend to tap. Understanding the list of all the challenges which I just mentioned in this video, cross-border e-commerce present huge business potential in growing economics around the world. A judicious approach will help you reap the fruits of cross-border e-commerce. You have to go legally, you have to understand which country has what legal requirements to export and import. So why do we do cross-border e-commerce? One of the key mitigation or say the reason for the success of cross-border retail is the ability to expand into an unknown or underexplored kind of economy or demography in particular localities with a economy where you can actually get a lot of support. Even smaller retailers have identified and have increased revenues owing to the proliferation of international e-commerce. And with increased revenue comes the need of increased support. Demands, after all, dictates the growth. The rise of cross-border specialties and consultants, including Alibaba and its CEO, that is Jack Ma, have helped bring international trade to the forefront of B2C retail, particularly in areas governing by barriers of language and distance. So those days have actually now gone, I can say, where international trade being the sole province of big three corporates and lobbyists and all. Now more than ever, the need for transitional, strategic and support services are at an all-time high, and as cross-border sales traffic continues to increase, the need to refine and to optimize delivery and operations has never been greater.